In this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 things that helped me completely stop overthinking. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Alex and I'm a recovering overthinker. And so for years, I would be ruminating about either the future, if I had a presentation or a speech, or I was going to meet someone, I would try to anticipate every possible scenario and try to imagine, okay, what if they ask this? What if I say this? And it would keep me up at night, but also replaying past conversations or past things, like whenever I said something embarrassing or even moments of shame from my past, like they would just pop up in my head and I would think them and I would just spend so much time spiraling in my head. And this was really exhausting. And so I tried many different approaches over the years, like journaling, like meditation, like breath work, and a lot of these helped, but it's not until I learned these 3 insights that I'm about to share with you that it completely kind of changed the way I saw overthinking and actually started addressing the root cause of my overthinking. And so I'll just get straight into it. And so the first strategy is feeling my feelings, right? So overthinking is actually underfeeling, because essentially it's your mind's way of trying to protect itself from the uncomfortable feelings that it doesn't want to feel. So if I think of me before a presentation, I'm so afraid of feeling the shame of maybe saying something wrong or of people judging me that my mind will do everything it can to protect me from avoiding that feeling. But then when you actually learn to get comfortable with all your emotions so that you're not trying to avoid fear, you're not trying to avoid sadness, you're not trying to avoid anger, well, then your mind doesn't need to anticipate, doesn't need to protect you so much, because actually you're comfortable with the full range of emotions. And so if you really want to reduce your overthinking, one of the best places to start is to really truly get comfortable with your emotions, understanding them, processing emotions from the past, so that they're no longer hijacking you in the present moment. And this is exactly the work that I do with my clients, and as a result, they really reduce their overthinking. And this has been a game changer for me, just being more comfortable with what is, so that my mind doesn't have to anticipate, my mind doesn't have to protect me from these emotions, which are not actually dangerous, but maybe I thought they were dangerous. I didn't want to feel them because they were uncomfortable. And the more comfortable I am with them, or the less my mind needs to protect me. So the second thing that helped me quit overthinking was learning to trust myself, because overthinking is just a form of control. And so we control things because we don't trust ourselves to handle what might happen if things don't go a certain way. And so then we spend all our time predicting, ruminating, anticipating, trying to, create the perfect situation, perfect circumstances, so that you don't end up in a situation where you wouldn't know what to do. And all that is a reflection of how little you trust yourself. And so if you really learn to cultivate that trust in yourself, well, then you'll just know that whatever happens, you'll be able to handle it. And so you won't have to predict, you won't have to constantly, be in anticipation mode. And so one of the best ways that I found to cultivate this trust in yourself is to improve the relationship between you and your word. So for example, when you say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym on Friday, and you don't, well, you're deteriorating the relationship between you and your word. Or if you say to a friend, like, I'll be there at 10, but then you arrive at 20 past 10, well, again, you're deteriorating the relationship between what you say and what you do, which is ultimately the word, your own word that you're giving to yourself. And so if you want to learn to trust yourself more, well, one of the best places to start is to actually ensure that when you say something, you actually do something. Because if the more you break promises to yourself, the less trust you'll have in yourself, and then the more you'll have to overthink and predict and ruminate and anticipate. And so yeah, for me, again, this has been one of the biggest game changers, is really cultivating this trust in myself, in my ability to handle whatever happens next. This also comes with understanding your limiting beliefs and your past conditioning, so you can overcome that and really build like this deep sense of trust in yourself. Well, then overthinking really starts to dissipate as well. So the third thing that helped me quit overthinking is taking radical responsibility, because Overthinking is just another form of avoidance. And so we basically want to avoid the consequences of our actions. But when you take radical responsibility, well, then you take ownership for how you interpret what happens to you. You take ownership for your perspective and for the way you see what happens to you, right? And so one of the philosophies that I choose to live by is that life is happening for me and not to me. And so what that means is that, whatever happens to me, I will be able to find meaning in that. I will be able to interpret it in a way that actually serves me. And so that means it's way less scary for me to find myself in different situations, because I know that whatever happens, even if I fail, I'm the one who gets to interpret what that means. And so this radical responsibility really gives me this strong sense of ownership of my perspective, which means that as a result, I'm no longer a victim of my circumstances. So, for example, let's say I do a presentation and at the end I receive some critical feedback. I'm the one who gets to choose what that means, right? And if I could take on the perspective of, and I'm a victim of whatever this critic, and that's why I'm feeling this way, because I feel bad because this person criticized me. Or I can be like, oh no, actually I get to choose how I interpret this. I get to take responsibility for my own experience here, and I can be like, oh, actually I'm going to take this critical feedback as something positive, something that I can use and I can learn. By taking ownership, well then you're less afraid of what might happen to you. And so then you'd have way less of a need to overthink and to predict and to anticipate and all the things that lead to overthinking. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want another mindset hack for deleting your overthinking, you can watch this video. Much love.